Welcome to North 40 News and New Scenes NoCo Now. We are live with episode 4, Old Town Recovery. Each week we discuss Northern Colorado's most important topics, bringing guests to our show and encouraging questions from our audience on our website and social media. Be sure to send us your question either by email at nnn@north40news.com or on our social media pages on Facebook or YouTube. I'm Blaine Howerton, publisher of North 40 News and New Scene magazine, and with me is Stephen Bonifazi. Stephen, here we go again. What do we got today?
Well, Blaine, it's great to be here. Today we have two very special guests. We have Jim Hewitt and Laura Levy. Jim is the owner of The Cupboard in Old Town Fort Collins. Jim was born in Fort Collins and grew up around Old Town. In October 2017, The Cupboard celebrated its 45th anniversary and is one of the largest privately owned stores of its type in Colorado. The Cupboard is an institution in Old Town and considered the flagship store that brings customers to many other retailers. Jim came on board in 2011 to help his father out and now heads the store. Laura is the Pandemic Recovery Manager for Larimer Recovery Collaborative. Laura was contracted by Larimer County to help them build a recovery plan and coalition after the COVID-19 pandemic arrived. She has worked with the county since April, near the beginning of the pandemic. The county asked Laura to come on due to her work with the recovery of the 2013 floods and her work helping to launch the VOAD committee, which is made up of nonprofit organizations that get together and rebuild after a disaster. Jim and Laura, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having us on here.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're happy to speak with you, and thank you for taking the time to talk with us and the community. So, Jim, I'd like to start with you. I wanted to ask you, what kind of support have you seen and received directly from the community and the customers who support you?
You know, we have been so touched at The Cupboard by the support that we have seen from the community. For us, for other businesses downtown, I've talked to a lot of businesses. People are coming out and just saying, hey, I want to support local business. I want to shop local. I want to eat local. And we have really felt love from the community. People say, hey, I don't want to go on Amazon right now. I really want to just spend money with you. And, I didn't know what to expect come December, but we have been just overwhelmed by the support that we've had from people, local Fort Collins and the surrounding areas.
Sure, absolutely.
So, Jim, how have you found The Cupboard navigating during the current business climate?
Yeah, it's been an interesting year. April we closed down. Everything happened so fast. We shut down. We did some curbside, some call in, and then as we continued back up and reopening, a lot of that curbside call-in really did continue, and we put all the safety measures that we could into place, and social distancing, plexiglass, masks, and it's we've done whatever else we could do to create a safe environment and give people options if they don't want to come in the store. We have back alley, so we offer back alley pickup. Did some delivery when we were closed.
Wow, absolutely. Laura, I wanted to ask you, could you tell us a little bit more about the Larimer Recovery Collaborative and its mission and what your role there entails?
Sure, I'd be happy to. When the pandemic first started, the county recognized right away that this is a whole different type of disaster. When you have a natural disaster like we've experienced a couple here and there in Larimer County, there's usually an impact, and then there's all kinds of assistance and program and responding, both government agencies and also nonprofits who kind of come to the rescue. But in the case of a pandemic, everyone is impacted. So your resources are stretched, your capacity is stretched. And on top of that, we don't just have one impact. Back in April when we shut down, that was one impact. Then we've had a couple other waves, and we've had to respond in order to protect our hospitals and keep our case counts down. That means that some of these restrictions have their own layers of impacts to our economy and our business community. So it's complex, and what Larimer County recognized immediately is they needed incredible collaboration between both all of our governments, but also the business community, our chambers of commerce, our school system, childcare. All of these groups really had to work together to help try and both solve problems and come up with creative solutions, but also make sure that we're coming up with regional solutions to things and leveraging some of the horsepower that may exist in one part of the county that doesn't exist in another. So we created the Larimer Recovery Collaborative with that in mind. The website larimerrecovers.org goes into more detail about the structure, but essentially it's a cross collaborative partnership of a coalition, essentially, of all the municipalities in our area, economic developers, schools, governments, all working together to try and mitigate some of the damages from the pandemic.
Sure, absolutely.
So, Laura, what would you say the biggest question you all are getting is right now?
Well, it probably depends on who's asking the question, but this week, it's definitely about when can businesses safely reopen, or what do we need to do to allow businesses to operate at a better capacity. And this is especially true with restaurants and gyms and businesses that have been hit by going to red on the dial because of our COVID numbers in the county. And so we've been working on developing a program that both encourages higher levels of safety protocol, and some of this has been discussed in the news through a 5-star program, or as we call it in Larimer County, Level Up. And we've been building a program in the hopes that we can get approval to launch this in Larimer County so that our businesses can hopefully operate at a slightly better level than where they are today. And especially restaurants who are not allowed currently to have dine-in. We're hoping that this program will at least allow them to function at the level yellow, even though we're in red, if they have done all of these certification requirements. So that's a program that we're working on right now.
Very good. And Jim, I wanted to ask, you had mentioned Alleyway pickup service that you had implemented. What are some other new services that you put in place to mitigate issues regarding COVID?
A lot of it really has to do with, this comfort level of people, and it's really on an individual basis. A lot of people right now are they want to come into the store, and we are limiting the amount of people. So there's a line, and people have to wait in line, and everybody has been absolutely fine with that. But like I mentioned before, the Alleyway pickup it's a call ahead. We have your order ready. You come on up, you pick it up, and you just we keep it on hold for you. And people really like that because they don't have to come into the store, and you just call in and never have to set foot. And it keeps social distancing also within the store, because not everybody's coming in.
Absolutely. So they've been responding well to that.
They have, yes.
Oh, wow. That's great to hear.
I think in my personal situation, I've got two little boys. Hopefully they don't run behind me like naked or something. In my personal situation, I'm just really excited at any chance that I get to get out. I mean, it's almost like, oh, I'm going to go to Old Town. 3 days. I guess what I'm trying to get at is the cupboard is sort of that experience where you could actually go in and enjoy, your shopping and looking at all the different things that are out there. Jim, can you talk a little bit about what the cupboard has done to keep people safe even, you told me a little bit, with the lines and the plastic and things like that, but like in your store itself, allowing people to still have that experience, but keep them, apart from each other. So, it's not a safety issue.
Sure, sure. We've removed some fixtures. We've kept things, trying to spread things out as much as possible. And people want to come in and they want to feel safe. And like you said, they also want to have a great experience doing so. So we want to try to, cater to both. And coming into a store, coming into a shop gives people kind of a slice of normal. And people they have a good feeling. People want to get out, but they're also cautious. And so we want to make sure that the customers who come in, they really do feel safe. And that we really make sure that our customers wear masks. We require that as people come in, have hand sanitizer, make sure we have enough space for everybody. But there is just a feeling of that warmth, try to just continue that despite having regulations, and it's just fun. It's like you said, just to get out and do something that feels like everyday life, and people like that. But they also want to be safe, and we want to be safe. So we take that very seriously.
And were you able to retain most of your pre-pandemic staff?
I was. Everybody who wanted to come back came back, which was almost all of my staff.
Wow.
So yeah, very fortunate that way.
That's amazing. That's so good to hear. Laura, I wanted to ask you, what are some short and long-term recovery solutions that you and the Larimer Recovery Collaborative have, been working on in the wake of the 2020 pandemic?
Well, short term, there's both the programs that we've worked on as a collaborative, and then there's also individual programs that each municipality is doing. So, for example, in the world of business assistance, each municipality has their own programs that they do that are short term. A lot of it connects back to the CARES Act funding that we all.
Oh, looks like we lost Laura there.
Oh.
I know Laura lives in the foothills, and she was telling us that she was having some internet problems, which is why we've been showing her picture and not actually seeing her video. So if we can get Laura back, we'll ask her some more questions related. And Laura, if you need to hang up and come back in, that's okay. Just use that link that we gave you earlier. Jim, I have to say, there's something about a local store as opposed to like Amazon that really makes a difference. And that's not just, buy local, shop local. That's actually that personal experience. And I'll have to say, I personally had a great experience working with you at the beginning of the pandemic. And I bake a lot of sourdough bread, right? So I couldn't find one of these little guys anywhere. It's a form basket, for the sourdough itself. And so I reached out to Jim and I said, "Hey Jim, can you get me one of these?" And he's like, "Oh man, those are really hard to find." He said, "But I'll order you one." And you don't get that. You don't get that on Amazon. You just get the little thing that says, "Go somewhere else." So anyway, thanks Jim for that. But what are, how, when customers come to you or your employees for special things, kind of what do you do to accommodate that, and what can you do?
Well, we try to have what people need, and it's been an interesting year that way, where it has been hard to get product just with production, etc. And then if we don't have it, we try to order it if possible. We want to take care of customers and get people, the things that they need.
Awesome. Looks like we got Laura back. Laura,
yes, sorry. Internet connectivity has been one of the cascading impacts of this. So you just experienced that firsthand.
No worries at all. Thanks for coming back with us, Laura.
Sorry.
No problem. Before you had disconnected, we were just asking you, what are some short-term recovery solutions that you and the Larimer Recovery Collaborative have been working on?
Well, I think one of the things that we are constantly working on that both lead to both short and long-term solutions is just constantly communicating, so we understand what all the communities are doing to solve some of their challenges. A great short-term solution that's come out of some of the municipalities had to do with communities allowing more outside dining and creating the space for that. And so each municipality created their own kind of Main Street program where they would allow more capacity by using, for example, parking spaces. So that's an example of a short-term solution that really just comes from lots of really good collaborative communication with the team. And then in addition to that, we did receive funding through the CARES Act that has been essentially we've done a variety of grants, both supportive grants to our nonprofit community for things like rental assistance, eviction prevention, and food pantries, things like that, to basically support those essential needs in the region.
That's very admirable.
Yes, awesome. Well, thanks you two for joining us today, Jim Hewitt from the Cupboard and Laura Levy from LarimerRecovers.org and NoCoRecovers.com. Laura's been instrumental in getting the word out, to the community about all of the latest and not so great things that are going on with the pandemic. But Laura's great, and we appreciate having her here today. Is there?
If I could just make a quick statement, I would really like the community to hear something, and that's that this has really impacted everyone, including people who are not used to asking for help. Mm-hmm. And it may be all kinds of help, whether it's the first time they've needed to supplement food for their family, or they've needed help making a rent payment, or maybe they're just having really tough challenges emotionally dealing with all of this. Mm-hmm. Everybody should understand it's completely okay right now for anyone to ask for help. And I hope that they do that. And if they question kind of what assistance is out there, I encourage them to go to LarimerRecovers.org. That is our website where we really try to keep current with all of the programs that are out there, whether it's just somebody that you need to talk to or whether it's financial assistance. There's always new programs and new things being developed. So it'd be good if people really just used that for both the pandemic and also we're building up the recovery resources for the fire.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Laura, because such a huge part of this right now is mental health,
yes.
And on our front page this week actually is a series that we're doing. It'll be a 7-week series called On Edge. And that subhead might be a little hard to read there, but it says Coloradans facing mental meltdown. And you can see that we've got, a couple of hands on the edge of a rock face, someone helping each other. This is actually part of a statewide series and a collaboration with the Colorado Collab. Collab is the name of the organization we're working with. But we'll have 7 weeks of coverage of people who are going through issues and things that, as a result of the pandemic. And it could be, anyone like, me or you or I mean, really, it really affects all of us. And, business and mental health do relate. I can speak to that, So thank you for bringing that up. And we're going to wrap things up. Jim, is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap it up?
I just want to say thank you to our community. We have such a great community, and we are overwhelmed with the support that we have received from people who just say, hey, we want to support you. I see other businesses going out of business, and we just want to make sure that you stay, and other restaurants and other retailers, and we're just making a commitment to shop local, eat local. And we've just really felt a lot of love from the community, and you've really kept us going. So thank you to whoever is listening to this. We really appreciate you, and it's not gone unnoticed.
For sure, for sure. So this series is part of a series that North 40 News is doing on a weekly basis called NoCo Now. North 40 News, to those of you who are not aware, is a weekly newspaper that I own and publish on, and I'm proud to say that we're reaching a very large part of the community on a weekly basis. And at the same time, we need help as well, support from our community. And this is not me being the public, radio guy pitching for your donation. This is me being the publisher asking our, people in this area to subscribe. That helps us. Every dollar counts. So you can go to our website at north40news.com/subscribe, or anywhere on our website, you can find the link to subscribe to our newspaper, and it's a nominal, few dollars, to spend to help us be able to do things like this, and obviously support our advertisers. That's another huge way for us to thrive and survive. Jim Hewitt is at the cupboard, a periodic advertiser, and thank you, Jim, for that. So by supporting our advertisers, that means just go in, and make sure you let them know that you saw the ad in North 40 News. And believe it or not, that does get back to the owners like Jim, so people hear what's going on, and they know that their advertising is effective. So all that being said, thank you, Stephen, for such a great interview today.
Absolutely.
And thank you again, Jim and Laura, and we appreciate your time today. Best of luck to all of you, and please feel free to reach out to us if you have further questions. And that email address is nnn, as in NoCo News Now, at north40news.com. Okay, thank you very much, and that's another episode of NoCo Now. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to you all and to everyone listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.